Russian oil exports have started to rebound strongly and Japan has started accepting oil from Sakhalin on sanctioned tankers, Bloomberg. EU includes Nutherm Stream, lowering toll on Russian oil to $45 and forbidden use of Russian energy infrastructure in new sanctions package, but the proposal will also include a list of additional Russian banks and shadow fleet vessels. The 18th package of sanctions against Moscow includes precautionary measures to help protect Belgium, where €190 billion worth of Russian central bank assets are blocked, from legal action by Moscow under a bilateral investment agreement between the two countries. India and the US are moving toward an interim trade agreement after 4 days of talks, with the two sides aiming to sign the first part of the trade deal by fall 2025, Bloomberg. Trump, National Guard will be in LA until the danger is gone. US-China trade talks in London going very well, Latnik. The US and China have agreed on a preliminary plan to ease trade tensions. US and Chinese negotiators in London said the two sides had agreed on a framework for implementing the consensus reached by both sides during the previous round of talks in Geneva. The US and China agreed on a plan to lift some of the export restrictions, in particular on partially lifting restrictions on bilateral trade and securing supplies of rare earth metals from China. Mexico and US close to agreement on steel duties, Bloomberg. The unrest in the US has spread from California to other states. US media report arrests in front of the immigration building in New York and actions in a dozen other states. And Los Angeles has imposed a downtown curfew. The Trump administration is doubling the National Guard contingent and sending Marines to California. Trump believes the protests in California are being funded by someone. EU seeks to extend trade talks with US beyond Trump's July 9 deadline. US and China conclude trade talks in London. Besant. We had 2 days of productive talks. Besant, negotiations can go on as long as they need to. Appeals court rules Trump's duties can stay in place for now. China says it held good trade talks with the US in London. China said there can be no winners in a trade war, but also that China is not afraid of a trade war. In the US, protests against immigration policy are already underway in 10 states and the capital city. Trump, our deal with China is done, and it will be finally approved by President Xi Jinping and me. Relations are excellent. US. Duties on China are set at 55% US. Duties on China are set at 10%. P. Opponents of Trump plan to take to the streets across the country on June 14, Trump's birthday and the day of the military parade. Organizers have named the action No Kings. They estimate it will be a nationwide day of defiance to show the world what real democracy looks like. Politico. US Trade Minister Latnik. Next week one trade deal after another. Beijing will limit rare earth metals export licenses to the US to 6 months to have further leverage in trade talks, Wall Street Journal. Uber and Wave, a British startup that develops autonomous driving systems, have announced that they have begun testing fully autonomous vehicles on public roads in London. Accenture has trained 500,000 employees to use AI. The consulting giant expects demand for its services in this area to grow. Germany's new home prices hit record high due to lower construction. Bloomberg. European gas prices fall amid weak demand in Asia, Wall Street Journal. IBM plans to build the first quantum computer that won't make mistakes by 2029. Netflix to invest more than $1.1 billion in Spain through 2029. Apple lags behind competitors in bringing AI to its devices, Axios. The World Bank has worsened growth forecasts for nearly 70% of all economies in the world. The bank does not forecast a global recession, but the current decade could show the lowest economic growth in more than 60 years. The World Bank cut its 2025 global growth forecast by 0.4 percentage points due to trade tensions and policy uncertainty. OpenAI partners with Google Cloud, company reduces reliance on Microsoft. Boeing reached its 737 MAX production goal of 38 airplanes per month in May. Meta to pay $14.8 billion for 49% stake in AI startup Scale AI. OPEC Secretary General says he is concerned about constant changes in IEA forecasts. OPEC Secretary General, peak oil demand not seen on the horizon. Tesla's first unmanned cars have hit the roads of Austin, Texas. Musk is pleased. Musk said Tesla robotaxi rides in Austin will tentatively begin June 22. Chinese stocks react with surging gains on good US-China trade talks in London, Bloomberg. Nintendo has sold more than 3.5 million Switch 2s in just 4 days, marking a record launch for the company's new console in 8 years. Boeing received orders for 303 airplanes in May, the most since December 2023. Investors invested a record $651 million into a bullish leveraged ETF on Tesla stock last week, Bloomberg. Starbucks considering selling minority stake to drive growth in China, CEO. Update on the dynamics of the SP 500 change in Trump's first term and now. Experts note a strong divergence between gold and platinum prices, which have typically moved in tandem. Nvidia CEO says now is the tipping point in quantum computer technology. Hong Kong pension fund managers flagged the risk of a potential forced sale of their longs in U.S. government bonds after Moody's downgraded the U.S., Bloomberg. Gold has overtaken the euro as the global reserve asset at world central banks, ECB. Nvidia plans to build more than 20 ultra-large AI factories in Europe, CEO. China, new energy vehicle NEV passenger car retail sales June 1 to 8 equals 202,000 autos equals plus 4% MOM equals plus 40% YOY, CPCA data. HSBC upgrades US stocks to overweight from neutral. US, CPI consumer inflation May. Fitch Ratings has downgraded its outlook for the global oil and gas sector to deteriorating. Oil, EIA reserves. XPeng has launched global sales of the G7 electric car, the first L3-level artificial intelligence vehicle. Payment giant Stripe buys cryptocurrency wallet provider Privy. Trump-linked mining company American Bitcoin bought 215 BTC for the balance of their long-term holders continue to buy BTC. The number of coins they hold has reached a record 14.46 million, Glassnode. Bernstein called his forecast for BTC at $200,000 by the end of 2025 conservative. Saylor on his company strategy. We are the world's largest issuer of BTC-backed credit instruments. Michael Saylor believes that there will be no more crypto winter in BTC due to the gaining speed of regulatory changes around the world, due to the huge support from the US government and the resultant rapidly gaining speed of adoption amongst institutions and corporates. Ray Dalio, BTC is becoming a widely used currency around the world as the app is limited. GameStop bought another 4710 BTC for the balance sheet. Connecticut, USA, has passed a law prohibiting state and local governments from investing in crypto or creating a crypto reserve. Sentiment notes spike in expectations for new ATH in BTC, warns that historically, such spikes are seen near local highs. Bloomberg ETF analysts have updated their latest data on the odds of cryptocurrency spot ETFs being approved in 2025. ETFs on SOL, LTC, XRP, Doge, ADA, DOT, HBAR, AVAX, have greater than 80% probability of approval #SUI 60%. XRP Ledger will launch a sidechain compatible with Ethereum Virtual Machine EVM as early as 2Q 2025. Ondu Finance launches its tokenized US government bond fund on XRP Ledger. Withdrawals can be made in Ripple stablecoin. More and more companies are choosing XRP Ledger monitoring. France's blockchain group has received shareholder approval to increase its capital raise to more than €10 billion to buy BTC for its balance sheet. Justin Sun reported that the Tron network has begun creating Trump's $1 stablecoin. Bybit will add 23 new USDC trading pairs to the spot market at once. USDC stablecoin from Circle #CRCL is starting to grow its share of the stablecoin market very quickly. VivoPower VVPR said it plans to place $100 million worth of XRP tokens into a Flare FLR blockchain stack to generate revenue. The company said it will also begin using the Ripple Rust stablecoin as part of its treasury operations. Japanese company Remixpoint bought another 50 BTC for its balance sheet. Circle's successful IPO is a sign of growing investor confidence in crypto and that the Genius Act will be passed by August, Ripple CEO. Interactive Strength TRNR starts buying Fetch IFET tokens for balance sheet. Solana Optimistic Network has received strategic investments from Jump Crypto, Amber Group and 2 other major investors. PayPal has launched its Pius stablecoin on Stellar Network. Billionaire Paul Tudor Jones, BTC, gold and stocks are the best portfolio to hedge against inflation. Circle's USDC stablecoin launches on Sam Altman's World blockchain. Billionaire Paul Tudor Jones said BTC should be in everyone's portfolio amid the rapidly rising US government debt. Bank of America BofA is working on its stablecoin, CEO. Swedish healthcare company H100 Group has raised an additional $10 million to buy BTC for its balance sheet. Murad's portfolio in memcoins has almost fully recovered and now stands at over $55 million, Dropstab data.